Last one. All right, so this is actually a homework question. I just modified it a little bit. But it's one of your homework questions that's due Thursday. So it says, again, this is the notes we started yesterday, so you can take out that handout from yesterday if you have it. So it says that the size P of a certain bee population at time, which is in days, obeys the law of uninhibited growth. So this is our formula that we're going to work with. We're going to answer all the parts based off that formula. So let's look at part A. For part A, it says, determine the number of bees at T equals 0. So P for population is going to equal 350E to the power of 0.04 times 0. Now, theoretically, you should not need a calculator for this. If you know your exponent laws, you should be able to do this without a calculator. But if not, type it in and see what you get. You should get 350. How did I know that the answer was 350 without typing it in the calculator? Anything to the power of 0 is what? 1. So I automatically knew that this was going to be 0. And E to the power of 0 is 1. So I was multiplying 350 times 1, which means that I'm starting out with 350 bees. So that's my starting population of bees. All right, what is the growth rate? So that's from your formula. 4%, good. So this here, this number, that's 0.04. R is 0.04 from your formula. Or if you multiply that by 100, 4%. So this number, if you go back to our formula, is always R times T. If you go back to PERT, so it's your E to the power of your rate times time. So that is how we know that that is my rate. Go ahead and do part C. For part C, we know that T equals 9. So for that one, we do need to use a calculator. So it's E to the power of 0.04 times 9. Now, you're talking about bees. So whatever answer you get, you should round it because you can't have half of a bee. So when we talk about population, it's a whole number. So I would take 501 or 502 bees. All right, so now D and E, you're actually solving. So for part D is asking, when will the population reach 800? So we have 800. And that equals 350 E to the power of 0.04 T. So what do we do first? We have to get rid of the 350. So how do we get rid of 350? If it's being multiplied, we divide it. Now 800 divided by 350 is a decimal, and I don't want to lose the integrity of my answer. So I'm not going to change that to a decimal. I'm just going to leave that as a fraction. So I'm just going to leave it as 800 over 350. You can also reduce it, but I don't want to change it to a decimal. So just to keep it simple, I'm just going to leave it as 800 over 350. And then that would be e to the power 0.04 t. So now, what is the opposite of natural log? What cancels out a natural log? Wait, sorry, what cancels out an e? Sorry, I said that totally wrong. I gave you the answer. What cancels out e?
A natural log.
A natural log.
Does the N stand for natural? And the L stands for log.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know
So
why.
is it backwards?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not sure why. Okay, so now this cancels out. And so this, I say it cancels out, but this equals 1. Okay, so this equals 1. This is going to move to the front. So it becomes the natural log of 800 over 350 equals 0.04 t. So in your calculator, I want you to type in the natural log of 800 over 350 divided by 0.04. And you're going to type that in just like that. And I'm going to round my answer to the 10th place. So you should get 20.7 days for part D. Go ahead and zoom out. That's what you should have for part D.
So would you, okay. So it'd be like this.
Mm-hmm. Not population, right? So you can have half of a day. Time can be a decimal. But if I'm talking about a population, that's a whole number. So I wouldn't say I have 15 and a half students. That doesn't make sense. But I can say that in 15 and a half hours, you know, so you just got to think about the context. All right, and then your last question, part E. So for part E, it's saying, when will it triple? So I know that I started with, from part A, I know I started with 350. So what number is 350 times 3? 1050. So you're going to do the same process you did in part D, except now it's 1050 equals 350 e to the power of 0.04 t. Go ahead and solve that. Same steps. Divide, put in a natural log, and divide again. Put in our natural log. And then we divide by 0.04. All right, go ahead, type that in your calculator. And you should get that in 27.5 days. It's going to triple. So again, I took that question just from your homework. I just changed the numbers a little bit. So for the remainder of the class period, I would either A, work on your study guide, but I wouldn't probably start your study guide since your test is Friday until you have your homework finished. So I do have a book down at the bottom of the screen. I also have a book on my desk. Just a reminder, this is that last homework assignment. It's only 6 questions. You can probably get it done before you leave. It's not technically due until Thursday, so use this time to work on your homework or on your review.